Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online series 10 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. In the last episode, we used a Santino Tarquinio's first place team from the Players' Cup 25th Invitational, so we'll be playing a couple more matches with it today. And this is a banger first matchup. First of all, top 100 ranked opponent, and they have the Lilligant, not the Maractus, the Lilligant. And, okay. Entei and Torkoal, Yveltal, Urshifu, and Ferrothorn. There's actually a lot of anti-Kyogre stuff here, but this is where Rain Dance on Tornadus, I think, plays a really, really critical factor for us. I think Tornadus, Urshifu, and Kyogre are a given in this matchup. Like, we absolutely bring those. My question is, which of these last three I really want? None of them are really amazing. So I default towards Weavile here, mainly because Triple Axle was super good into Yveltal specifically. Whereas, like, RIllaboom's AV doesn't... the only reason... Actually, not the only reason, but I would say, like, RIllaboom's value here is that it helps out against Lilligant and Urshifu. It's actually not terrible for that reason. But I think for the lead, I like Tornadus plus Urshifu because I can potentially just Rain Dance up. Or Tornadus Weavile. Urshifu is just a little bit more consistent for us here, though. So I think I like Torn, Urshifu, Kyogre, and then Tsareena doesn't make too much sense for us here. It does have Taunt, but I don't really need the Prio blocking from its ability. So I'm going to bring Weavile. We didn't get to bring it as much as I wanted to yesterday, and I think ability to one-shot both Yveltal and Lilligant is pretty nice for us here. So either way, I'm really excited to see my opponent's team, and we didn't go up against Yveltal yesterday. So thanks once again to Santi for the team. Details are in the description below, including a rental and a paste. And thanks to you all, as always, for watching. If you enjoy, please show your support by leaving a like. I'd really appreciate it. And question of the day, obviously, we have the Pokemon Presents tomorrow. Curious what you all are expecting / predicting from it. Let me know in the comment section below. So it's going to be Yveltal plus Ferrothorn. Okay. I mean, I don't mind this too much, and honestly, what I want to go for turn one, I'm just a little bit nervous because I can miss Hurricane. Does Icy Wind plus Close Combat knock this thing out? I don't think so. But if we eliminate Ferrothorn, that just paves the way for Kyogre freely. The thing here is, if you're my opponent, you could Oblivion Wing into Urshifu, and so if I Close Combat into Iron Barbs, I'd effectively be trading Urshifu for Ferrothorn. But I'm okay with that trade, I think. So, yeah, I'm just going to Close Combat. I just don't know how defensive the Ferrothorn is here, so, like, you could make the argument to Icy Wind instead. Okay, they're going to go for the Oblivion Wing first. That's fine. Pretty speedy there, but our Tornadus isn't exactly the fastest. It's not max speed. They're Life Orb. Okay, good to know. So, we'll get the Close Combat off. Oh, Icy Wind actually might have finished it off and would have gotten a speed drop on Yveltal, so that might have been nicer to go for, but that's fine. We're going to feign from Iron Barbs. The only scary thing is now I risk missing Hurricane. Only 70% accurate. But we are going to connect, which is sweet. Okay, cool. Now what? I think I bring in Weavile, honestly. We'll see who they bring out. Now I could have Tailwinded turn one. But I don't see, or sorry, yeah, I mean, I could have Icy Winded. I also could have Tailwinded, obviously, but there's no point in getting that Tailwind up immediately. I think trading Ferrothorn for Urshifu is a great trade for us, honestly, because Ferrothorn's really good into the rest of our team. All right, and they bring out Torkoal. That's fine by me. Now, this turn is interesting. If Torkoal's out now, like, I would really think Lilligant's my opponent's last one. So the thing here is, what do I expect Yveltal to do? Does Yveltal protect, or does it just attack? Because the play I want to make... I wonder if Torkoal KOs us even with the rain being up. I think the play I lean towards here is just Rain Dance and Triple Axle into the Yveltal. The other play I could have made was Fake Out Torkoal. Okay, Yveltal does protect. That's still okay, because then... next turn, I can just... First of all, I'm not sure if Torkoal one-shots the Weavile here. But the turn is a little bit frustrating because I, of course, could have opted for Fake Out onto the Torkoal slot here. So, good protect on their end. Yeah, they are going to go for Eruption. I just don't know if this KOs Weavile in the sun. It doesn't. Okay, that's actually a really big deal. Because now I can just launch Hurricane. And I'm going to target the Yveltal slot there because I want it to be in KO range from a Water Spout. and Triple Axle. Weavile's faster than Tornadus anyway, and since Yveltal protected, if Yveltal doesn't have a Sucker Punch here, for example, then even if Triple Axle doesn't KO, Hurricane will. And if Triple Axle alone KOs Yveltal, then Hurricane just gets redirected and targets Torkoal anyway. And I'm thinking my opponent's last Pokemon is Lilligant, because that's just their best answer into the Kyogre. That's my best guess right now. So let's see. I like our position right now, but the big question is whether or not this Yveltal has Sucker Punch. I kind of expect it to have it, but even if it does, Hurricane will chunk at it for a significant amount of damage. Okay, so they do have Sucker Punch here. Oh, but they target Tornadus. Okay. Well, I would think Triple Axle knocks out here if we get the 3 hits. Nice. Okay, we hit all 3, and we get Hurricane off into the Torkoal. I wonder if they were reading into the Weavile switch or just wanted the damage onto the Tornadus. I figured even if Sucker Punch did go into Weavile, though, we still had a pretty good chance of winning this one. And now Hurricane just does so much damage in itself. And they actually go for Eruption. Wow. Okay, nice. Which means Tornadus should survive this. Beautiful. And this is the huge plus of having Rain Dance on this Tornadus. It feels like this team was so ahead of the metagame, too, because I was thinking, hey, one way you can counter this team, if there's no Rain Dance on the Tornadus, is like Sunny Day or just Sun in general. But with that Rain Dance, it's even harder. It's actually going to be Urshifu as my opponent's last one. Okay. But it's Dark Urshifu, so you don't really fare super well into Kyogre. Yeah, we can actually just Hurricane and Water Spout here, and there's no counterplay to that. Because even if you, say, crit Sucker Punch into Kyogre, Water Spout still KOs Torkoal, and then Hurricane KOs you. If you Sucker Punch into Tornadus, Water Spout will bring you down to Focus Sash, if not KO you if you're not sashed. So this always just secures us the win. Yep, they go for Sucker Punch. Really good damage there, but at the end of the day, it's not going to matter because Water Spout should finish off the Torkoal, and then Hurricane should finish off the Urshifu. So no reason to go for any other play other than that. That secures us the game 100%. I guess Crit Sucker Punch actually looked pretty close to doing, like, KOing us, but I think he would have done it. Like, Torkoal's special defense is just pretty mediocre, so as long as we get a KO onto that, then, yeah, that's what really counts. So, Rain Dance really saving us here, and in the end, that's exactly why I wanted to bring that Weavile, able to just one-hit KO that Yveltal. So, Weavile is just a really impressive Pokemon on this team, primarily used to counter things like RIllaboom, Amoonguss, Landorus, for example. But, you know, Yveltal's not as common of a restricted Pokemon, but super, super nice for us here. It was able to just, you know, get that one-hit KO and outspeed the Yveltal. So, the main thing here was that my opponent brought that Ferrothorn out really early. By leading it into Urshifu, you can't protect in front of it, right? Meaning that I got a guaranteed close combat into that slot. What they had in the back were Urshifu and Torkoal. Neither of those really take close combat that well. Torkoal's probably your best switch in there, but are you really going to switch in Torkoal turn 1? Probably not. So I'm really glad we had that Urshifu out immediately to deal with the Ferrothorn, and that made the match drastically easier for us. Because Ferrothorn, as a switch it into Kyogre's Water Spouts, can be a really, really big issue. So nice way to start off the day. Next match of the day, and this is very reminiscent of Game 3 yesterday. How do we do? I really struggled yesterday against the... Actually, my opponent didn't even bring Urshifu yesterday. Or, sorry, Kyogre yesterday. And by the way, my opponent from Game 4 yesterday commented that the reason they went for Electro Web and Close Combat again was because they were choiced with both Pokemon. So I think they had the win if they actually switched the Regieleki out into Tsareena and then just brought Regieleki back in and clicked T-Bolt. But yeah, that's why there was a small window of opportunity to win yesterday, because they couldn't change their moves for either Pokemon. I mean, yesterday I really wanted to lead Weavile. I think I'm just going to do it this time around, so I'll go Weavile Tornadus. I was just so hard blocked by Tsareena yesterday. I'll go with Kyogre. It's like, do I still really bring RIllaboom? Because their Tsareena coming out feels relatively likely. Could bring my own Tsareena. Eevee on RIllaboom is still so valuable though, and just like if we knock out Tsareena, it means RIllaboom hard wins against Kyogre. So I think I'm still gonna bring RIllaboom here. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, I mean I think the hope here is that yesterday the issue was that my opponent led Tornadus Tsareena, and I was expecting a Regieleki Tornadus. But okay, I think the game plan here is because we do have Icy Wind. I'm gonna fake out Icy Wind turn 1 into Tailwind Triple Axle turn 2. There's a lot that can go wrong though. But yeah, we don't need to Tailwind immediately. Actually, the issue with this is if Tornadus is Taunt. So it's like you Tailwind turn 1 into Taunt onto Tornadus turn 2. I could have just gone for Fake Out onto Tornadus. Regieleki is just really the main issue. I mean, it's Regieleki and Tsareena. If I'm my opponent, I'm going Tornadus, Regieleki. Oh, wow. Also, the Fake Out play is a little bit risky for me to make because, of course, my opponent could just switch in Tsareena on turn 1. I didn't fully respect that play, actually. We don't get punished for it, but that could have been really bad. I don't know if I have a truly safe turn 1 play to make there, though, without knowing Regieleki's item. Because if you're a Magnet or even, like, Specs, you can just knock us out, which is really bad. But now we're not in a terrible spot. I mean, they do get their Kyogre out. That's obviously really scary offensively. Regieleki protecting here feels fairly likely. I don't need to... Like, here I think I can just triple Axle into Regieleki. I mean, Regieleki protecting here feels so likely, right? But it's not like Lash Out really does amazing. It's not terrible damage, actually. The play I'm thinking of is doubling out in Kyogre, but because we have an early lead, I'd rather just Axle into Regieleki here and Hurricane. The only question here is, like, I might want to contemplate switching Weavile out into RIllaboom. Okay, yeah, actually I'm going to make this switch. And I am going to click Tailwind this turn, mainly because there is a chance that, like, we just lose Tornadus here. I just really want to conserve Weavile because it's so good offensively into so many of my opponent's Pokemon. Right? Like, if it deals with the Regieleki, Tornadus, and the potential Tsareena in the back. Regieleki protects, okay, fantastic. I was really close to going, you know, doubling up onto Kyogre there, but, like, I'd rather just conserve Weavile here. And I wanted a Hurricane because if I'm switching out, then Water Spout obviously can just KO us. Okay. This actually works out pretty well for us, because the thing is now I get Kyogre in for free. They crit Tornadus, that's fine, pretty sure that was KOing anyway. Yeah, and the good thing for us is now I get Kyogre out for free. Meaning, I can just click Water Spout. Regieleki is guaranteed to faint. Obviously, Regieleki can switch out into, say, something like Tsareena right now. That's okay, though, even if that were to happen. Because I can U-turn. I don't know, though. My opponent's play last turn was pretty telegraphed, so it's like, if I did just go for Hurricane and Lash Out, we'd probably be in a much better position. So I don't know if that was actually worth it. Anyway, I'm going to just U-turn into Regieleki and go for the Water Spout here. Okay, Regieleki switches out. That's not surprising. I'd expect to see Tsareena here, but they actually bring out Tornadus. Okay. Double switch. Into Tsareena, but the thing is, if Water Spout just one-shots Tornadus here and I get the U-turn off into Tsareena, we're in such an amazing position. Let's see. Oh, they're actually sashed on Tornadus here. Or they just hung out with 1 HP. That changes everything. Okay. But the thing is, like, is my opponent Tsareena going to have Grassy Glide in this position? It feels relatively unlikely. Also, the other crucial thing there is that I got rid of their Tornadus, so they can't Tailwind right now. But that means their Regieleki isn't Focus Sashed, and it has Protect. So it's most likely just going to be Magnet, right? And the thing is, I have Faint. So if you bring out the... And also that looks like AV Tsareena, so that's also good to know. Now, AV Tsareenas typically run Triple Axle, Power Whip, like High Jump Kick, U-turn. But if they actually have Grassy Glide here, for it's probably a loss. Well, not necessarily, I guess. If they have Glide, I could switch Kyogre out into RIllaboom and then just Axle into Tsareena. Just double check the field state. 2 turns of Tailwind left. Because we have RIllaboom in the back, I actually think it's safe to just triple Axle Tsareena here and go for Water Spout. Well, we don't need a Spout, right? Scald is better, probably. Oh, right. Choice locked. Yeah, I'm just going to stay in and triple Axle and Spout. If they have Glide, so be it. They switch out, fine by me. Means I could have gone for... No, I can't go for Faint if Tsarena's out on the field. Okay, this is fine because I still have one more turn of Tailwind to work with. There's several like win conditions we're playing around right now, right? The first one is eliminating Regieleki. The second one is eliminating Tsareena. So the way my opponents position themselves is now I have a free Water Spout and Axel into the Regieleki slot, meaning you either give up Regieleki or the Tsareena. Okay, triple Axel gets 3 hits. Actually brings Kyogre under 50, which is nice. I guess the other play my opponent can go for right now is a double Protect with Regieleki, so I could go for Feint plus Water Spout. Not in love with that though. Just double checking. It's the last turn of Tailwind, so yeah. I would actually go for the double in my opponent's position is the thing. Because they can't win the game, I think, if you give up either Regieleki or Tsareena here. Actually, the correct play is to just sacrifice Regieleki, right? Now, Kyogre is actually always outspeeding, and given how much that Water Spout did, like, I think we can just Water Spout Kyogre, Water Spout here, and Lash Out into Kyogre. Because we have the speed advantage right now. Even after Tailwind expires, we still outspeed. Yeah, so they switch out Regieleki, but that's fine. Let's see. Does Kyogre protect? Yeah, so this was fairly obvious, but the thing is, I'm okay with that, right? Actually, am I okay with that? I also want to make sure I time my terrain correctly here. Like, now I can just Water Spout, Lash Out the Kyogre slot. Rain stops. That's actually fine. I'd actually argue that's beneficial for us right now. Now we can triple Axel the Tsareena slot with full confidence. 2-1 Peter's out. It's the last turn of terrain. I don't love that. I think I'm just going to keep staying in and Water Spouting, though, because this covers for an Regieleki switch in. And if we knock out Tsareena, RIllaboom wins the game. And they stay in. Okay, perfect. So as long as we don't miss triple Axel here, I think we're good. I just didn't want to switch in RIllaboom and have something get KO'd, because I need terrain control right now. Nice. Okay, I jumped up for a second, because it paused, so I thought the message was going to be for a miss, but it was actually for a crit. Okay, that should win us the game, because now RIllaboom has full terrain control, and they just scald. Perfect. I am just really surprised they switched out Tornadus turn 1, but like I said, I could have been in a lot of trouble if Tsareena switched in. So going for Fake Out was pretty risky. The thing about a matchup like this is always really interesting, where it's like your opponent knows you know they have Tsareena, so it's like, how often are you actually willing to click Fake Out? But I don't see a fully 100% safe play on turn 1 though, which is the scary thing. The question here is whether or not it's worth switching out Kyogre. If you're my opponent, like, you could go for the win condition of freezing RIllaboom. RIllaboom should just one-shot both of my opponent's Pokemon from this range. So I think I'm content to just Feint and Water Spout. Because Regieleki really shouldn't do that much damage into RIllaboom. But then the scary thing here is if I actually give up both Pokemon, I do have to play around Protects. But if I switch in RIllaboom and I lose RIllaboom, I actually just lose the game. Okay. So we'll get Feint just for chip. Okay, they actually go for Electro Web. That's probably the best case option here, because it means I actually still get damage. Oh, it actually depends on if their Kyogre's max speed here and whether or not they have Thunder. Okay, we still outspeed. Nice. I don't know if Water Spout KOs Regieleki from this range, though. Okay, it does. Yeah, that guarantees us the game. The main thing for us that was in our advantage in this game, first of all, was that we had better speed control. Like, they just never clicked Tailwind. And they actually opted for Scald anyway, so even if they attacked first, I think we had this game wrapped up. But there are basically two paths to victory. The first one is eliminate Regieleki so that Kyogre can sweep, and the second one is eliminate Tsareena so that RIllaboom can sweep. But we put ourselves in a position, I don't know, it might have just been correct to triple Axel into the Tsareena switch in. Like, the Tsareena switch in there was super obvious, but that being said, there was a chance that Kyogre didn't protect her and actually went for an attack. So I wanted to cover for that option. Because, like, this was the worst case, right? Then making that protect and switch out, and it still worked out fine for us. So, yeah. I don't know. Yesterday's lead against the Tornadus Tsareena was just so bad. And, like, That one I was really kicking myself for because the Tsareena and the Tornadus like was super weak into Weavile specifically, and I felt like if we just let Weavile in game 1 yesterday and triple Axel into the Tsareena slot, we're in such a fantastic position. So the scary thing about clicking triple Axel with this team is that obviously you still can potentially miss, but fortunately for us, yeah, we haven't had any of those like super low rolls. So yeah, another nice win and good to get some revenge against Tornogre, Tsareena, Lecky. Although I guess Kyogre didn't come out yesterday, so let's look for another one. Third game of the day, and it's against Calyrex. Is this Arash's Calyrex team? I think it's this all the same Pokemon, right? Did he have a Amoonguss actually? I don't fully remember. Either way, Santi played against a very similar team comp here in the Players' Cup. Oh, we have so many different directions we can take this because all of our Pokemon are pretty good here. I'm honestly looking at Amoonguss plus RIllaboom as the thing I'm most, like the combo I'm most scared of. But like we could just go Tornogre pretty easily. Weavile, RIllaboom. Okay, this isn't a best of 3. I guess I like instantly walked those thinking, hey, if this is a best of 1, super free. We could drop RIllaboom for Tsareena here, but I'm okay with this. The only risk in going Torn Weavile is that late game RIllaboom from their end is really scary, right? Because I don't have Tsareena, meaning if you just knock out both Torn and Weavile, then dealing with RIllaboom late game is actually really hard. So I haven't really brought Tsareena out in any of the games that we've used this team, and I feel like that might be a mistake. But they're going to go Urshifu plus Lecky. That's fine by me. Yeah. I mean, Tailwind Water Spout is just super free here, right? I guess you do potentially, like, you should be Sash on a Lecky here. But with Weavile and RIllaboom in the back, like, even just getting this amount of burst damage to start off the game is pretty good for us, I would say. So, honestly, I am just down to Tailwind and Water Spout immediately. Okay. That was a notification from my computer. No Protect on either Pokemon, no switches. Yep, it is Focus Sash Lecky. So it's not Arash's team. Arash had Scarf. But the thing is here, even if they T-Bolt Surging Strikes and we go down both Pokemon immediately, it's actually not even that bad for us. But they're going to opt for Electro Web, and Kyogre actually dodges it, which is the risk of using Electro Web there. Yeah, I mean, that's obviously a lucky dodge for us. I'm just trying to think why Electro Web. I think that, you know, that certainly makes sense. That also makes sense if you're not expecting me to Tailwind turn 1 and you punish me super heavily. Oh, they actually Surging Strikes the Kyogre slot. Really interesting. Okay. Well, Electro Web probably would have picked up the KO there, but we honestly would have been in a fine position if Kyogre went down there, because then I just get a free switch in. I'd probably go into Weavile, and then I can just feint the Lecky, Hurricane Urshifu. You don't have any counterplay to that. Now it's really safe for me to just Hurricane Urshifu and Water Spout. Because, like, if your goal was to just knock out Kyogre, they could have gone for, say, something like T-Bolt and Surging Strikes instead of risking the miss there. And it's not like the speed control really helps them too much here. But I'll gladly take it. I do think Focus Sash Lecky is, like, so critical into the Kyogre teams here, because with so many of these matchups, it's like if they don't have Focus Sash, they kind of just lose immediately on turn 1. Because it's like your best answer. Okay, they're going to go for Aqua Jet. That shouldn't KO us. Brilliant. Nice. So it's like, while you've dropped our speed, I mean, that basically, like, negates the Scarf. I still have Tailwind, right? So I'm still just outspeeding everything at this point in the game. And this is just how oppressive Choice Scarf Kyogre really is in the format. Nice. So I guess the main thing here, let's say they do bring out RIllaboom. That's pretty interesting. But at this point, we have Weavile and our own RIllaboom, and that should deal with RIllaboom and Calyrex. They actually bring out their Calyrex, which is, I'd say, even better for us. Now, Astral Barrage actually does have the potential to pick up a double KO here. Water Spout will obviously finish off Regieleki. We have 2 turns of Tailwind left. So I like Icy Winding here and Water Spouting. Just drops Calyrex's speed so that even after Tailwind's over, and they actually don't switch out a Lecky, and so that's actually really good for us. Reason being now because, well, got really laggy there for a second. Okay, they're faster with the Calyrex. That makes sense. That's fine, though. Because now it's just 2v2. I have Weavile plus RIllaboom. I guess the scary thing here is you do pick up a double KO, though. That is a lot of damage. And sorry, not damage. Grimnay. We're not Life Orbed either. That actually could be a problem. I didn't account for Grimnay super well. Because while I still have Tailwind, I didn't get that Icy Wind off. Oh, and it's Incineroar. That actually will probably win my opponent the game. Yeah, that's where the Electro Ball on turn 1 actually played a really, really big role. So, nicely done. And you can see without a Focus Sash on the Regieleki, Water Spout just like demolishes everything, right? That was great execution by them. Yeah, I only have 1 turn of Tailwind left. I actually just don't have damage into Incineroar at this point. That's the other part of the problem. If you're my opponent, you should always protect Calyrex here. But there is the win con, which is the Calyrex not being, like the Calyrex being Choice Scarfed. Yeah, actually, given that they outsped Tornadus and they didn't have Life Orb, could be the case. So we could win still if there's Scarf Rex. It's just like even dealing damage into Incineroar now is pretty difficult, but they do have to take a fair amount of recoil from Flare Blitzes, and the rain is up. Okay, so they're not Scarfed. It's probably Spell Tag then. Now the win con is, I guess, crit into Calyrex. I wish we could use Feint here, but obviously it's normal. Maybe I needed Urshifu over one of these. Then if I had Urshifu over RIllaboom, this was actually a lock, because then I can just go for... I could have doubled up into La Calyrex with Lash Out, or Fake Out Instant and then just Surging Strikes Calyrex. I actually lost this on Pokemon selection. RIllaboom wasn't the correct option. It was Urshifu. I just didn't feel super confident with Urshifu into RIllaboom and Amoonguss, but they did a great job of not bringing either here, so props to them. Anyway, I'm going to go for the Crit Glide here. Yeah, I could have switched Tornadus out into Weavile the turn I got hit by Astral Garage. That would have been the game-winning play as well, or a potentially game-winning play. Okay, we'll get Glide off, but this isn't KO without a crit. Yeah, hangs on. And this is why Calyrex is so scary, right? You give it one opportunity to just get the... Like, the main thing I miscounted for in this game was the Calyrex being faster than the Tornadus. And the thing to note is that the Tornadus on this team is very bulky, very slow. So that Electro Web speed drop actually meant like Calyrex would outspeed us, and that was my mistake. But yeah, honestly, kudos to my opponent. Like, they... Bringing the Incineroar and the... just the way they led was super smart, and we even got lucky with that Electro Web dodge, but still didn't end up mattering. Now, it would have been interesting if Electro Web hit, because it actually would have given us a free switch in, but I think they did a fantastic job with Pokemon selection in this game. Like, their 4 were the best 4 specifically into the 4 that I brought. And I think a lot of players would bring RIllaboom and Amoonguss, and those Pokemon would cause us some issues. But yeah, I think my opponent just played one step ahead of me in terms of Pokemon selection. Now, we still could have very easily won with the Pokemon that we brought, but the key thing here was giving 2 boosts to the Calyrex. Calyrex actually not being Life Orb really hurt us as well, because if it were Life Orb, then it would have likely fainted to that Grassy Glide as well. So, I'm curious on the item on it. It wasn't a choice item either, so I'm guessing like Spell Tag, but not 100% sure. Yeah, and so you can see Focus Sash Regieleki has a lot of strength into us. I mean, Tail and Water Spell turn 1 felt fine. I think, yeah, Tornado switching out into Weavile that turn would have been better, but if we did get the Icy Wind off there, it also probably just would have done enough damage so that Calyrex would have just gotten KO'd by a Glide. So, yeah. And then, like I said, we could have brought Urshifu. If we had Urshifu over the RIllaboom there, we would have had this game locked up 100% in the end game. Because then the thing is, yeah, I just bring out... You can't protect in front of the Urshifu. I have one more turn of Tailwinds, and I just fake out Surging Strikes. So that would have been a better bring for us. But you can't always bring all the right Pokemon, and it's like easy to say, oh, of course Urshifu would have been better here. But then the Urshifu is really weak into the RIllaboom and the Amoonguss, and both of those were pretty likely Pokemon selections by my opponent. But this is how my opponent was just kind of one step ahead of me, specifically in this game with the Pokemon they brought. So kudos to them. Anyway, fast couple matches, so let's look for one final one. Final match of the day, and cool, we go up against a Groudon team with a Unpheasant, not an Unpheasant, I wish that was an Unpheasant. Mandibuzz. This is a really cool team comp, and I think it's one that I haven't seen too frequently, but I really like it, honestly. I actually think FIni, despite this team having 2 grass types, can be a nuisance, and the FIni that Rizzo had in the exhibition match of the Invitational was a really cool set with like Nature's Madness and Icy Wind and Light Screen. If that's the set my opponent has, we're actually in a lot of trouble. Nervous about Trick Room. I'm nervous about FIni. I mean, are they really gonna have Trick Room on Nihilego with Focus Sash? That feels so unlikely. Honestly, don't mind Tornogre lead here, I think. Because I can Rain Dance even if they lead Groudon Venu. And then in the back, I like RIllaboom. That's just going to be our best answer in a Tapu Fini by far. And then who's our last one? Tsareena, Weavile, or Urshifu? I actually lean towards Urshifu here. Mainly because of the Sash and because Incineroar is kind of a pain. Weavile's Triple Axle was kind of nice into a bunch of my opponent's Pokemon. But I think Urshifu is just too consistent to say no to here. Maybe I regret that decision in the end. But the thing is, the Surging Strikes and Rain still chunks away at the Pokemon that resist it, like FIni, for example. So, yeah, I think I'm just going to bring it. But this is a really cool Groudon team composition. I think Groudon teams in general are just still kind of underexplored. And so I really like my opponent's team here, honestly. I think there's a lot of cool stuff. This is a great lead by them, too. Yeah, it's going to be... This reminds me of VGC 2017, actually. So that's really cool. I'm mainly curious about the Tapu Fini set here. Like, are you Nature's Madness? It's gonna be Misty Seed for sure. They could Snarl turn 1. I think I'd want to just Hurricane Water Spout and then Tailwind turn 2. I think the priority should be to just eliminate the Mandibuzz because then that paves the way for RIllaboom. We also have Hurricane Confusion potential here. And yes, you can still confuse despite Misty Terrain because they're not grounded here. So they're not affected by the terrain. It's really good damage from Spout still. Okay, take those. There's Hurricane. Mandibuzz is quite bulky though, you can see. And we do get the Confusion, nice. Let's see if they hit themselves in Confusion first of all. It's gonna be an Icy Wind, I'm fine with that. If Mandibuzz hits itself in Confusion here, then I just Tailwind Water Spout next turn, they're in terrible shape, honestly. So that's also another reason. Like, there's just no need for speed control on our end on turn 1. Icy Wind or Tailwind doesn't accomplish very much for us. Okay, they managed to attack, but they're just snarling here. I guess the problem is maybe now you survive Water Spout with the Snarl. Oh, you probably do, meaning you can Roost. Ugh. In Tailwind Spout. Question is, how fast is your Mandibuzz? What speed stat does Mandibuzz need to surpass with that Icy Wind? Oh, not much at all. But they haven't done damage to us, which is pretty good. I still don't feel the pressure to Tailwind here, because it's not like Tornadus takes advantage of it immediately anyway. So I'll still go for Hurricane plus Water Spout. And if Mandibuzz is like really slow for some reason. Ooh, it hangs on with literally 1 HP. That's a bummer. But the fact that we've already activated Fini's Berry is pretty nice. Confirms recovery on that. Yep, it is Nature's Madness. This is a great Fini set. This is exactly, I think, the best set into our team comp. Mandibuzz is faster. Let's see if it attacks through Confusion. Yep, it does. Ah, the fact it survived with that much is a bummer for sure. That changes everything. Okay. I'm gonna bring out RIllaboom now then. And now I'm gonna Tailwind. But the thing is, this game just got so much harder because Mandibuzz hung on with like 1 HP. I had no counterplay to that, right? Water Spout, Hurricane, Water Spout really was my best play there. We even got the Confusion, but they hang on with 1 and survive both Confusion rolls, which is rather unfortunate for us. If I'm my opponent, I'm Nature Madnessing, and I guess I didn't need to Tailwind this turn either, quite frankly. Good for Icy Wind. RIllaboom actually dodges it, so that's a little bit lucky. Okay, let's see if Mandibuzz is still confused. I'd rather just have not gotten that confusion turn 1 if it's gonna attack through all 3. Now I'm just sad. Nicely done though. Great execution and perfect lead by them. I don't know what the damage roll on the spouts were there, but yeah, they literally, I think, had 1 HP. And if they go down there, I feel very confident on winning the game. But now it's like I spent so many resources to try to KO this thing, and it's just nearly at full health again. That being said, I think FIni having Protect here is actually somewhat unlikely, so we have a relatively free Grassy Glide into that slot. FIni switching out here feels fairly likely, but they don't have a great switch it into Hurricane and Grassy Glide here, so I'm just going to double up onto that slot. Okay, they don't switch out, so this should just be a KO. That's good because FIni has been a nuisance and is probably one of the more annoying Pokemon for my Urshifu in the back to deal with. This is where maybe I should have brought Weavile, though. Weavile would have given me a better damage output into Mandibuzz. Oh my goodness, 4 for 4 on attacking through confusion. Oh. Foul Play does just under 100 damage there, so it did 99, meaning that it's not even a guaranteed to a KO, which is at least good to know. Okay, they bring out Venusaur. That's actually a pretty interesting bring here. I'm at -2 speed. I want to just U-turn into Venu here and Hurricane into it. But it might be valuable for me to switch Tornadus out. Because I could pivot out into Urshifu. Because that resets the drops for me and also allows me to potentially get another Tailwind up. I am only at -1 special attack though, so I think Hurricane might still KO. So actually I think U-turn into Hurricane here is fine. I could see them switching Mandibuzz into Groudon right now. Oh, they actually have Protect. Okay, that also changes things then. Oh, all I needed to do is KO Mandibuzz, man. But I guess the problem here is that I didn't bring Weavile. Snaps out of confusion. Pretty impressive stuff. Rain stops now too. I mean, Groudon's obviously going to be their last one. Ugh. Yeah, I think I just U-turn Hurricane here again. Because the RIllaboom is going to be faster than Tornadus because we ate up those speed drops on Tornadus. So I can U-turn out into Kyogre. And then I can still win the game with Urshifu and RIllaboom endgame. But yeah, I mean, Venusaur's like stopped running Protect as commonly. Like it would still be a move, but just not as commonly seen back in the earlier formats. But it makes sense for the Venu here to have Protect. However, because Tornadus is so slow, I'm nervous about Venu just outspeeding us here, even with us having Tailwind up. But as much as it pains me to bring Kyogre out right now, because it could potentially feint to a Venu, if we could just, you know, Hurricane KO Venu here and we outspeed it, that'd be huge. But because we're not max speed on Tornadus here and we're bulky, I'm not actually sure we outspeed the Venusaur. Okay, we do, thank goodness. And they're not Koba either. Perfect, okay, that gets the KO. So it's still very winnable for us then. It was just frustrating, right? Because like Mandibuzz had all those turns of confusion, and we just missed out by like 1 HP on the KO. But I actually don't mind our position at all now, because Groudon's going to be my opponent's last one, but this timed out perfectly, right? You bring Groudon out, now I just click Rain Dance with the Tornadus. And even if you protect Groudon, I just get the free switch into Urshifu, and I can Surging Strikes from there. But you can see why this Mandibuzz gave me so many issues, right? Like, didn't have a great answer into it. So I'm always just going to Scald into Groudon here and Rain Dance. Once again, the Rain Dance on this team is a game changer. It makes the Sun matchup so much easier for us. And never have I missed another attack, right? It's not like I've played with this Tornadus, like, oh, I really wish I had, like, you know, Protect right now on it. Especially with Tsareena on the team, you just can play with a lot more confidence. I guess I could have switched Kyogre out there into RIllaboom, but I like having RIllaboom in the back for more fake out. They're probably just going to foul play. If they Tailwind, then we just Tailwind Scald. Yep, it's just another foul play. That's fine. Okay. Now I just bring in the Urshifu for free. guess my only question is whether or not Surging Strikes and Rain KOs Groudon if they're buried, because there's an argument to be made to switch out the Tornadus right now into RIllaboom. I'm just nervous about Groudon being buried here. This does reset the special attack drop on Tornadus, though, which is pretty valuable. I don't know. If, like, we'll see if Groudon can take it. Because it's not like Hurricane adds that much damage anyway if they're buried, because we're at -1 special attack. I guess last turn, if I just scalded the Mandibuzz, that actually was probably the correct play, because then Surging Strikes would KO the Mandibuzz, and then it just KOs the Groudon. I think we needed to pick up a KO faster here. Yeah, if they're buried, they'll actually survive here. Oh, that's close. No berry. Okay, we should win the game from that then. What an intense final game, though, and this was a really cool team, so props to my opponent. And I shouldn't say it's over until otherwise, because this is a Mandibuzz we're up against, and this thing has been quite the nuisance for us, but yeah. Looks like they don't have a flying type attack, so Roost, Foul Play, Snarl, Tailwind is probably the moveset. And the lack of a reliable flying type attack makes it a little bit easier for us, but I guess even if they had a flying type attack, because Urshifu was Focus Sash, this was always really safe as an endgame for us. So now I can just Surging Strikes and Fake Out into the Mandibuzz. Pretty sure 2 Surging Strikes in range should just be a KO. But this game felt a lot harder, right? Because on turn 1, or turn 2, the Mandibuzz hung on with what literally felt like 1 HP. Okay, it's not enough for a KO, I think, and once again, this is a testament to Mandibuzz's Mandibuzz's bulk, right? Like, that's 2 times that we've just missed out on the KO, even with all of this damage distribution. But now, obviously, we can just go for Aqua Jet and Glide. I mean, we outspeeded, it doesn't really end up mattering here, but yeah. Props to Mandibuzz, though. I gotta give this Pokemon credit. It was very difficult to deal with. The main thing for my opponent was that they just lacked damage output, and their Groudon couldn't play the game, basically, because we had Rain Dance on Tornadus. Even if we didn't have Rain Dance, like, I probably would have then just switched Kyogre out, but then that turn, Groudon could potentially capitalize and go for, like, an attack while I switch out. So, yeah. But I do think that was a really, really cool team, and of course, I think in the Groudon versus Kyogre matchup, when you have Rain Dance on Tornadus and Urshifu with Focus Sash and Surging Strikes in the back, it's just very heavily favored towards us, honestly. So there wasn't too much my opponent could have done, quite frankly. Maybe they could have knocked out Tornadus earlier, but the matchup is just really hard for them, and I think they played it really well. I mean, the Mandibuzz FIni lead was super smart, and they wasted a ton of my resources, but the main thing is that they never really got that much damage off, and like, their Venusaur nor Groudon could actually really play the game because they never had speed control, so it's like, while you're slowly disrupting us, well, I can still just outspeed you and KO your main offensive threats in Venu and the Groudon. And the grass flying water coverage is so good, right? When it was FIni out on the field, they couldn't switch into Venu or Groudon because whatever switches in would just take a Hurricane and a Glide. That's just so much damage, right? If not a KO. And so it's like, while Mandibuzz and FIni are valuable in slowing down and like dropping my stats, if you're not actually doing damage, it doesn't end up mattering. It's like, you know, it chipped away a little bit at everything, but in the end, we just had a lot more offense than they did. And of course, the matchup was just a lot better for us because we had that Rain Dance and Tornadus, meaning we could make a lot of super safe plays. The only thing I'm wondering about this game is the turn Groudon protected, it was like fairly obvious, but I do think it's still good to cover for that option. The scary thing there is if Groudon had a bulky berry, I think if it was Citrus, it was still KO'd, but if it were a bulky berry, then you would actually survive the Surging Strikes and then potentially can win the game. But then I guess that's just one specific item I have to worry about. Because my fear is if I if I Rain Dance and I Scald into Mandibuzz. Did they not have Tailwind on Mandibuzz as well? Because, like, I was surprised that never came out. That also made things easier for us. It still gets Tailwind, right? I actually want to double check that. I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't, but I just haven't seen Mandibuzz in so long, honestly. Base 80 speed, which is pretty good as well. Yeah, it does have Tailwind, right? So I also think they had the opportunity to just Well, I guess they felt forced to foul play Kyogre. Yeah, actually, no. You couldn't Tailwind there, because if you Tailwind, then I just Tailwind the next turn and then Scald Groudon anyway. So they were right to foul play Kyogre in that position. They just never had an opportunity to actually click Tailwind. You needed to come up like one turn sooner, I think, but they were always felt the pressure to damage with foul play. So, yeah. Anyway, you can see why Santi won with this team. It is truly an amazing team, and you know, Pokemon does often feel like a matchup-based game, but I think the mark of a really good team is one that will give you more favorable matchups. That's how, if you look at all the World Championship winning teams, like, it's like, one, the player that piloted and built it is obviously truly an amazing battler. Two, they were able to come up with a team that was like really just one step ahead of the rest of the format. And to me, Santi's team is exactly that in the Players' Cup Invitational. So, you know, I think you could see some of the things that we struggled against. We struggled against things that were faster than Kyogre. Regieleki Focus especially is pretty scary in general. That Calyrex Snowball was really impressive, where it's like, if Kyogre takes a chunk of damage early on, it can be a little bit difficult. It's funny because Incineroar, even though like you would think is a really easy Pokemon to go up against, like when you bring the grass types and Weavile, all of those actually struggle against Incineroar. So a well-managed Incineroar can also be pretty difficult. You know, opposing weather, sun can be tough, although Rain Dance on Tornadus makes things a lot easier. I do think, since this Tornadus does not have Taunt, opposing Taunt Tornadus or opposing priority Taunt from Prankster like Whimsicott or Tornadus is a problem, and that's what we ran into in our loss yesterday. So I think the losses, like, we ran into some things that definitely just made it harder for us, and I like couldn't really recover super easily from. Although the one against Calyrex, I think I still could have played a lot better in, but yeah, my opponent just brought all the right Pokemon there, and bringing Incin into a matchup in a best of one like that is really hard. So props to my opponent for identifying that. But that is going to be it. So once again, huge congratulations to Santi for winning the tournament. Details for the team are in the description below. Thanks to you all as always for watching. Leave a like if you enjoy, and I'll see you all soon. All right, peace.